Good day everyone, especially to you sir. We are Group 7. Our topic is Economic and Integration and Cooperation. Economic integration is a term used to describe a political and monetary agreement among nations and world regions in which preference is given to member countries. Three major ways: global integration, bilateral agreement integration, regional economic integration. Global integration is a process of increasing the degree of economic and political integration among countries around the world. Example of global integration: standardization, global synchronization, progress, and deep time. Under the global integration, the World Trade Organization or WTO, Global Integration General Agreement on Tariff and Trade or GATT, predecessor to the WTO. Second is a bilateral agreement integrations. Bilateral trade is much simpler than trying to forge a deal in the WTO. However, it is always difficult to measure the impact in the short run. Third is a regional economic integration. Regional trade agreements are reciprocal facts between two or more partners that lie somewhat between bilateral and global integrations agreement. GATT or General Agreement on Tariff and Trade, liberations of tariff to include such issues and intellectual property, foreign direct investment, and services.
The predecessor to the WTO. The fundamental principle of GATT was that each member nation must open its markets equally to every other member nation. In 1947, 23 countries formed GATT under the United Nations to abolish quotas and reduce tariffs. This principle of trade without discrimination was embodied in GATT's Most Favored Nation clause. Why geography matters? Due to factors including the small distances that commodities must travel, the likelihood that consumers' taste would be similar, and the ease with which distribution channels may be developed. Neighboring countries frequently form alliances. In the case of RTA, geography is significant for a variety of reasons. It is normal for neighboring nations to have a similar history, language, culture, and currency. World Trade Organization. The World Trade Organization expanded its scope to encompass various aspects of international trade: services, investment, intellectual property, sanitary measures, plant health, and agriculture. Two main types of agreements. First is free trade agreements. The goal of an FTA is to abolish all tariffs between member countries, eliminating internal tariffs. EU was organized in 1957. Customs Union. Member countries levy a common external tariff on goods being imported from non-members in order to establish a customs union. The effect of integration. Regional economic integration can affect member countries in social, cultural, political, and economic ways. Initially, our focus is on its economic rationale.
So we have the effects of integration, and the first is the static effects. In the context of international trade and integration, it refers to the immediate changes that occurs when trade barriers are reduced or eliminated. One of the static effects is the reallocation of resources from less efficient companies to more efficient ones, as a result to increase trade. This reallocation is driven by the principles of comparative advantage and can lead to more efficient resource utilization. Here's an example to illustrate this. Example: consider two countries, country A and country B, each producing two goods, cars and computers. In country A, car production is highly efficient, while computer production is less efficient. In country B, computer production is highly efficient, while car production is less efficient. Initially, both countries imposed trade barriers such as tariffs and quotas that limit the flow of goods between them. When these trade barriers are reduced or eliminated, the following static effects occur. With fewer trade barriers, country A can now import computers from country B more easily, and country B can import cars from country A. Resource reallocation. Country A, recognizing that country B can now produce computers more efficiently, reallocates resources previously used for computer production to car production, where it has a comparative advantage. Increase efficiency. As a result of this resource reallocation, both countries become more efficient in their respective areas of comparative advantage. A country A produces more cars with the same resources, and country B produces more computers with the same resources. Consumer benefits. Consumers in both countries benefit from a wider range of products at lower prices. In country A, car prices may fall, and in country B, computer prices may fall. Static effects demonstrate how the reduction of trade barriers can lead to a more efficient allocation of resources and increase in overall economic welfare through specialization and trade. This is a foundational concept in international trade theory known as the principle of comparative advantage. So there are two conditions of static effects. First is the trade creation. Trade creation occurs when a regional trade agreement allows countries to import goods more efficiently from each other, benefiting from comparative advantages. This can lead to an increase in economic welfare for the member countries. The second condition of static effects is the trade diversion. It is a concept in international trade theory that occurs when a regional economic integration agreement, such as custom unions or a free trade area, diverts trade away from more efficient external supplier to less efficient suppliers within the group. This concept is closely related to the theory of custom unions and the work of economist Jacob Wiener. The overall impact of a trade agreement in terms of whether it leads to trade diversion or creation depends on a various economic factors and the specifics of the agreement. So the second effects of integration is the dynamic effects. In the context of international trade and economic integration, it refers to the longer-term and more comprehensive impact on markets and companies that occurs as a result of expanded production and the realization of greater economies of scale. These dynamic effects are often associated with the growth and evolution of businesses and industries. Here are some examples to illustrate dynamic effects. For example, a company that initially produces a limited quantity of a product may face high per unit production cost. The market growth. When trade barriers are reduced, companies in an industry may see expanded market opportunities. And by the technological advancements, as industries grow and expand their production, they often invest in research and development to improve products and processes. And to enhance global supply chains, as trade expands, companies often develop more complex and efficient supply chains, integrating suppliers from various regions. Dynamic effects consider the long-term impact of trade and market growth on companies and industries. And due to the dynamic effects of integration, the barriers come down and the market grows. Because of this growth, companies can increase their production, which will result in lower cost per unit. And this phenomenon we called economies of scale. Economies of scale refers to the cost of advantages that a business can achieve as it increases its production levels. Here's an example to illustrate economies of scale. Example, the manufacturing company. Suppose there's a company that manufactures smartphones. Initially, the company produces 10,000 smartphones per month. As it increases its production volume, it experiences economies of scale. In this example, the company experiences economies of scale by increasing its production volume. As it produces more smartphones, it achieves cost efficiencies through various means, such as better supplier deals, reduced labor costs, and improved manufacturing processes. This cost reduction allowed the company to offer its product at more competitive prices, while maintaining or improving profit margins. Economies of scale are a key factor in a company's ability to grow and compete effectively in the market. Some effects of the RTA is the increased competition. In the context of international trade and economic integration, it refers to the heightened rivalry among firms and industries from different countries or regions. When trade barriers are reduced or eliminated, and markets open up to foreign competition, domestic countries must face a more competitive environment. Increased competition can have various effects, including driving innovation, improving efficiency, and benefiting consumers through lower prices and better product choices. Here's an example to illustrate increased competition. Example, agricultural products in a free environment. Increased competition can have various effects, including driving innovation, improving efficiency, and benefiting consumers through lower prices and better product choices. Here's an example to illustrate increased competition. Example, agricultural products in a free trade area agreement. Consider a free trade agreement between country A and country B that results in the elimination of trade barriers for agricultural products. In this scenario, before the trade agreement, domestic farmers in country A primarily supplied the local market in agricultural products such as wheat and rice. With the free trade agreement, country B can now export its agricultural products, including wheat and rice, to country A without tariffs or quotas. Country B is known for highly efficient and competitive farming practices. As a result, its agricultural products can be offered at a lower cost than what a country A's farmer can achieve. While domestic farmers in country A may face challenges due to increased competition, consumers benefit from lower prices for agricultural products. Over time, increased competition can lead to innovation and the improvement of agricultural practices in both countries, resulting in a more competitive global market. In this example, increased competition in the agricultural sector, driven by the free trade agreement, encourages domestic industries to adapt and improve, leading to benefits for consumers and the potential for long-term industry growth and competitiveness. Increased competition is a hallmark of open and integrated markets and often leads to overall economic development and innovation. Major regional trading groups. The European Union is the largest and most comprehensive regional economic group. It began by gradually abolishing internal tariffs but eventually established an external tariff while integrating in other ways such as facilitating the free movement of workers. establishing a common agricultural policy, and agreeing on a value-added tax system. The formation of the European Parliament and the establishment of a common currency, the euro, make the European Union the most ambitious of all the regional trade groups.
The North American Free Trade Agreements. The North American, which is the U.S. or United States and Canada. Free trade is a policy that allows goods and services to be exchanged between countries with no minimal or no restriction, such as tariffs, quotas, and other trade barriers. NAFTA, or the North American Free Trade Agreements, is designed to make it easier for these countries to trade with each other by reducing tariffs and quotas, and the other trade barriers, and these agreements help good flow more freely and encourage economic cooperation. By the way, tariff means the taxes or duties imposed by the government imported or exported goods. The number of units to the export and imported goods. The NAFTA, or the North American Free Trade Agreement, has an advantage and disadvantages. The first advantage is tariff reduction over agreement trade, which means reduction of tax imposed to the export and import product. The second one is to reduce the imported cost, which means when the United States import the goods or the products from Canada, we have a less imported cost. The third one is to improve resilience. It is the time it takes to procure the necessary cheap and green bread before we can enter or leave these countries as part of a key trade agreements. And number 4 is less complicated trade procedures. More goods from different is to increase access to a wide range of products eligible. That is to make goods from different producers indicated in the U.S. or United States and Canada without significant restriction for tariffs. And also the NAFTA disadvantage. The first one is the economic challenge. It leads to job displacement. Some workers and certain industries lose their jobs and move to places with lower labor costs. And also to a wage short. Increased competition can put downward on wage for some workers, especially in the industries directly affected by greed. And the second one is the immigration. When there is a wage pressure or displacement, other people or people in that country from U.S. or United States and Canada, the people there will immigrate to another country where they can live and freely, where there is no wage pressure, no job displacement. Like here in the Philippines, people there will work or immigrate to another country or go abroad. Because here we have less wages or we have job displacement and wage pressure. And the third one is the security challenge. Because it's needed to avoid the security like smuggling and trafficking, and also cybersecurity, where thief and disruption. when there is no restriction when it comes to shipping the export and import product. So I think we will enter to the current situation. And the last is the political challenge. And the third major regional trading groups is a customs union or a common market. It is a group of countries that applies one common system of procedure, rules, tariff for all or almost their imports or exports and transiting goods. Example of customs union or common market is the Southern African Customs Union and European Customs Union. And in the Customs Union has a regional economic integration in Asia, which is the ASEAN, the APEC, and TPP. Under in TPP or the Trans-Pacific Partnership is the Caribbean Community or the CARICOM. The second one is the major trade group in South America or the Mercosur. Mercosur has a problem, and the fourth one is the Andean Community or the CAN. Next is regional integration in Africa or the sample customs union is the African Union. The African Union has three regional monetary unions, and those are the Pan-Arab Free Trade Area or the FAFTA, and the next is Arab League, and the last one is the Gulf Cooperation Council.